Hey guys, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of November. Hope you're all well. I am well. If you don't know what your Moon and Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. I'll put a link down there that will help you. Equally, if you'd like to reach out for a personal reading or to send me a message or whatever, my contact details are down there, as well as the social media that I hang out on, so come find me. If you're a subscriber and you're returning, I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And I'd love it if you would subscribe. What else to tell you? Mercury retrograde starts today. I'm recording this on Halloween. So with it occurring in Scorpio season, I'm just waiting to see what hits me in the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks actually, because it doesn't go direct until 20th of November, and then we'll have a shadow period for a couple of weeks after that as well. So look out for old situations which you haven't quite dealt with, that you haven't closed out properly, coming back for another go, another piece of the pie. It's a really good time to have a reflect on it. You know, use that Scorpio energy, have a reflect. I can't believe I'm lecturing Virgos about reflecting and analysing things, thinking about things. But there we go. Use that energy, you know, and if old things do come up, try and work out why they've come up. Try and work out what aspect of it is still affecting you that you weren't aware of. And yeah, let's see if we get out of this alive, because I'm not convinced we will. Right. So, readings are time-stamped. If you don't want to watch me shuffling and all that jazz, I completely understand. Go down to the comment box. First comment will be me time-stamping the video. This is the second time I've seen the Tower while I've been shuffling the cards and thinking about your energy. I don't know if it's going to come out in the reading, but it's loitering. It might just be a nod to the fact that we're in Scorpio season. We'll see how it goes. So, let's get 3 cards for Virgo for the month of November, please. 3 cards. Oh, 3 cards for Virgo. First card is the King of Swords. Also not the first time I've seen that card while musing on your energy today. It's air element, usually Aquarius, but it could be any of the other air signs. Interesting, we have a pair now. That is the Queen of Cups. That's water energy. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And one more for Virgo, please. Spun off there. We've got the 6 of Cups. What was I just saying about the retrograde and things coming back? Right. This is interesting. I think this might be the first reading in the whole time that I've been on YouTube where there hasn't been a major arcana come out in the main cards of the read. I might be wrong, but if there have been any others, there's certainly not many of them. We do have major arcana at the bottom of the deck though. We've got the Hanged Man, which is a card of Pisces, so it's some more water energy. There's a lot of water cards now. Very passive energy, that number 12 with the major arcana. So I'm going to get a few more cards for clarity and then we'll get on with the reading. I cannot tell you how satisfying it is shuffling these cards like this. Like nothing else. So, what is a King of... No, I'm not going to take it because it didn't jump, but it was the Queen of Pentacles, just so you know. What is it? Justice, card of Libra, has come out directly under the King of Swords. It's also not the first time I've seen that card while I've been shuffling on your energy today. So Okay, one more card for the King of Swords, please. King of Swords. This is either a person or it's a very strong energy that you are rocking this month. I don't know. We'll see. Where's the Queen of Cups here, please, for Virgo in November? Got the Devil and the Moon. It's Capricorn and Cancer, respectively. Cards 15 and 18 of the Major Arcana. How funny that all your majors are coming out in the clarifying cards. As I pick up the deck, here you are at the bottom. Shuffle you in. Why is the Six of Cups here for Virgo? We have the Nine of Cups and the Seven of Cups. Virgo, there's no earth here anywhere. It seems like you are really embracing Scorpio. The Tower is at the bottom of that deck, right? There isn't an earth card anywhere on the table. Oh no, it's like an absolute lie. You've got the Devil. That's earth. Probably the one earth card you didn't really want to see, but there we go. It's here. So let's get to this. First card you have is the King of Swords. Now, as I said, he's the pinnacle of the suit. He's the masculine presentation of the qualities of air energy. If it was a man or a woman, in fact, actually, tarot doesn't really see gender, it's present. If it's somebody in your environment, this person is a master communicator. Not at all swayed by emotional issues at all. They make very logical decisions, are very smart, very quick-witted, can think on their feet quite easily. They're a strategist. And they're able to make very difficult decisions. In his shadow aspect, he can be cold and detached, but when he's upright, it's compassionate detachment. You know, it's keeping himself just a step back so that he can objectively assess the situation and make the best decision for those people that he rules. Right? Could be older than you. Could be an air sign, or just could be featuring prominently in their chart. You tend to find these kind of minds are attracted to careers that require a level of compassionate detachment. So lawyers, doctors, surgeons. Yeah. There's a heavily analytical energy here. But if it's not a person, and I find it interesting that he's come out twice, I'm going to go with it being an energy. Sorry, I didn't mean to zone out on you, but I'm just looking at the two clarifiers that we've got. We've got Justice and the King of Swords. And it strikes me that they're almost identical. You know, even the angles of the swords, you know, the way they're sat, everything is just... It's a duplication. What this king doesn't do is put up with bullshit. He's just like his queen. You know, he's fair and he's just, but he can be very stern. And, you know, the cold interpretation of this king is because, you know, I mean, I guess he could probably be executing people and whatnot, but kind of makes me think of Ned Stark. You know, but maybe not as stupid as Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. He's about honour and integrity and doing things properly. Like he's completely preoccupied with that, you know. Being fair, being honourable. And if you cross him, or you cross boundaries, or you cross, you know, those parameters which he has set in order to make the kingdom run efficiently and fairly and in a just manner, then he will deal with you quite severely. And this is your energy. This is what you've been working with. So in order for this to be necessary, I feel like there's been something that's occurred that has upset you somewhat. And I feel like you're in a reflective mood about it, but not in an indulgent way. Yeah, I mean, look at these two cards here, the shadow cards. We've got the Tower and we've got the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man is the most passive card in the deck. This is a card of not doing anything, actively not doing anything. You know, the whole point of the card, what the Hanged Man is doing, is hanging himself upside down to see the world from a different perspective, because he's kind of reached the limits of his understanding, looking at things the right way up. Now he has to deliberately invert himself, detach himself, in fact. Detach himself. To try and work out what's going on. And I feel it like it is off the back of a tower moment that you've had. And it seems like you've got through the being upset about it, and now you are deliberately taking a bit of time to sit back and look at this in a more objective fashion than you were doing before. And it's not that you're being cold about it. I think there's possibly an indication here that some of your boundaries were not only crossed but entirely trampled down. You know, ridden over roughshod by a herd of cattle or something like that. Because these two cards here, what is screaming along here is fairness. And I think you've been treated unfairly. But rather than having a hissy fit about it, you're doing a bit of contemplation. I don't know, maybe you're not even sure you have been treated unfairly, and that's why you're trying to be objective about your assessment of it. Justice can talk about legal issues. You know, it can talk about contracts. It can talk about, you know, these things together could be, you know, moving home, exchanging contracts on a home, something like that. You know, it's disruptive, but for a good end. You know, there's definitely legal kind of aspect to it. I want to pull some more cards because these energies are very similar. And I hate the last card in a bit that I'm reading being a repeating card, because I feel like whilst it's important because it's saying what this indicates is important and needs paying special attention to, it doesn't actually add anything more other than emphasis. So why is the King of Swords here? The Eight of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, yeah, you're walking away from something and towards a new start. You know, that's a card of endings and beginnings. You know, you're walking deliberately away from this, which at some point meant a lot to you but doesn't anymore. Maybe this is what you've been contemplating. Maybe this is what you've realised. Maybe this is why you are the King of Swords, because actually now you are able to employ a level of detachment enough to be able to walk away from those cups, and whatever was upsetting you, you realised actually it doesn't need to upset you anymore, because that emotional attachment has been severed. You know, you are walking away from it and you're walking directly towards a new start in something else, and it's a really tangible, solid new start. The other way of interpreting this is that this is a past situation that has already occurred. You walked away from something. It could have been a job, it could have been a relationship, it could have been something. You walked away from it and you started again somewhere else. And you've been in a period of contemplation, reflective contemplation about this. Maybe you're trying to see if there are any more, like, you know, I've just picked up this deck and the shadow card at the bottom of here is the Six of Swords, leaving and moving away. I mean, take it as it resonates to you, but there's a definite leaving behind of something that used to be important and isn't important anymore, and are moving towards something new, a new start. You know, whether this has happened yet or not, I think it probably has done. And I think what these Kings of Swords and the Justice cards are here is you objectively reflecting on that experience. I mean, maybe you're trying to work out what it is that you have learned from the situation, you know, where it went wrong. I don't get the impression that you're torturing yourself about it, though. Like, there's a very thorough, emotionally mature reflection on the events, and I like it. I like it very much. The other thing that Justice can say was that situation that you found yourself in, the one that you've walked away from, was a karmic situation. You know, pillared cards, this karmic cards. You know, you closed out a karmic cycle. You paid off your debt, and now you're moving towards something new. That may only be for one or two of you, but it's important to mention it there. The next card that you have is the Queen of Cups. And Queen of Cups is the Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio Queen. Right? She's water element. And usually I'm not terribly fond of the Queen of Cups because I just think she's a bit wet, really. Like, she's in a world of her own most of the time, and she's obsessed with that god-awful cup that she's got in the Universal Waite deck. I mean, it's got nippy claws. I mean, what is that supposed to be? It's not practical in the slightest. You can't drink out of it. It's ugly. Like, I fail to see what purpose it serves. But she's devoted to it, and that's kind of the point of the depiction. But this Queen of Cups, I find much less offensive. She sat in the middle of she sat on a lovely stone throne there, and the waves are crashing around her, but she's unmovable. She doesn't shift, you know. This is a woman who is capable of sitting in turbulent emotions and not be washed away by them, you know, not drown in them. She's perfectly controlled. She's got a decent cup in her hand, one that is practical but beautiful as well. And she's wearing a green dress, which is, you know, associated with love. It's the heart chakra colour. And she looks very calm. She doesn't look flighty or, you know, slightly highly strung, which is the impression that I get off other Queen of Cups. And this is you, Virgo. This is an emotionally mature woman here, you know, and whether you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. You know, it's the feminine aspects of the suit are embodied here in this card. And it suggests that you've done quite a bit of growing internally as a person. I mean, for you to turn your back on something and walk away that you'd put a lot of effort into, that's quite difficult for a Virgo, but you did it anyway, and you started anew. And we've got you in this passive phase at the moment where there's some definite contemplation going on, you know, and very clear, objective thinking. You're not feeling sorry for yourself. You're not sat there, you know, if you'd left a relationship, you're not sat there describing him as a bastard, her as a bastard, you know, you're not doing that. If you've left a job, you're not going, well, they were fucking shit to work for, you know. You're not doing that. You're contemplating your part in all of it. Because these are all solitary figures, here and here, and in the Hanged Man and in the Eight of Cups, you know, solitary people in solitary contemplation of events. And the result of that is that you have developed the ability to sit in your own emotions and contemplate them rather than get knocked sideways off the throne. And we've got these two cards underneath to tell us also how you got there. You know, the Devil and the Moon are two pretty dark cards. At least they can be. You know, the Devil talks about bondage and addiction and restriction and self-sabotage and toxicity and staying with things that are bad for us, even though we know that they're bad for us, out of any one of a number of reasons. You know, fear, or, well, fear is the main one usually, actually. There's an intoxicating aspect to the Devil. But the important thing about the Devil is that these figures here depicted are there because they have not chosen to be somewhere else. Like, they feel like they're trapped, they feel like they're restricted, they feel like they can't escape. But actually, like those chains that they literally would lift over their heads should they want to do it, but they're afraid. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And then we've got the Moon, and the Moon is all about the subconscious. It's all about things that are hidden, that are obfuscated. You know, this crayfish here that's crawling out of the depths is the whole thing talks about shadow work, actually. And if you're not familiar with shadow work, I'm actually going to put up a series of videos about it very soon, so like keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's basically about accessing those parts of ourselves which we repress in order to fit in, you know. Those things that society and our parents and our friends and our teachers and you know, and anyone in authority tells us that are not good for us to have. You know, we put them down, press them right down. But they don't stay pressed down. They start to influence our actions subconsciously, without us even realizing that is the drive, that is the root, that is where that particular reaction came from. You know, so many people react to things and they have literally no idea why. They've got upset, they've got jealous, they're hurt, you know, all of these things. And there's a trigger point down there somewhere that they just don't know about. And shadow work's about pulling all that out. Those two cards together, to me, are telling me that that's what you've done, whether you realised it or not, whether it was intentional or not. You know, this reflection, this contemplation that you've been in has allowed you to pull this stuff up and look at it and go, oh, okay, right, well, you know, this is what happened, this is what they did, that's what I did, you know. And sit there calm. I mean, I would go as far as to say serene, actually. It's very balanced, it's very mature, it's very level. There's a lot of acceptance here of not just what you've experienced, but also what you are. And that is something that's critical to shadow work as well. You know, whatever name you give it, whether you've just been sat mulling over your existence, you know, or whether you have genuinely got gone at it with an intention to do shadow work. This is what you've achieved. And then we come to the Six of Cups. Now the Six of Cups for me is the past life card. You know, it's got quite a nostalgic look to it. You know, even the colours of it are nostalgic. You know, it throws you back to a time gone by when things were just easy and it was warm every day and things were fun, things were easy. You had no responsibilities. You know, it can sometimes speak of children, but I don't feel like that's the case here. I rarely do feel like it's the case, to be honest. Because for me, it's the card of looking back at something. So this could be, you know, a past relationship that you've had. Maybe this is what you spent all of your time thinking about. Or it can be somebody that you know, had a relationship with in a previous existence. You know, souls bump into each other all the time. You don't just have one soulmate, you have fucking hundreds, you know, and you're always running into each other. Soul family. Person you hate most in the world is probably a really close member of your soul family. You're bouncing off each other and learning things. Anyway, this is a past person, a past job, a past relationship. It's a past something. And it's come up a lot in the readings that I've done in the last couple of days. You know, with the retrograde looming, and now here it is. You know, this shit's coming back all the time. You know, you've got anything unresolved in your past, it's gonna come back up, and that's people, that's emotions, that's situations. You know, anything. But it's not happening to you; it's happening for you. It's giving you an opportunity to learn what you need to learn, and then put it to bed properly and move on properly, without taking any of those triggers with you forwards into what you do in future. The two cards that you have to clarify were the Nine of Cups and the Seven of Cups. So we've got the Six of Cups, 7, 8 and 9. We're missing a 10. But we've got 6 through 9 cups, not your energy. In the Eight of Cups, this chap, these cups that he's leaving behind, you know, this decision he's made to go off, the way this card is designed, it draws attention to the fact that there's very obviously a cup missing in the middle row. Right? Your eye is drawn to the fact that it's not there. It's wish fulfillment. It's wishing on a star. You know, it's hopes, it's dreams, it's like everything you ever wanted. Pipe dreams sometimes, are all encapsulated by this card. So in turning his back on the 8 and going away, what he's actually doing is going off to look for his 9. Like whatever that was, it didn't work, and he's not having it. Life's too short. He's going to go off and find what he actually does want. But I find this card singularly lacking in detail. I mean, I find it really odd compared to just about any other cup and any other card in the tarot. It's like the colours are quite blocky, you know, and all those cups are on a weird little curved table. What's underneath the curtain? I don't know what's underneath the curtain. Do you? It's probably wine or something. I don't know, but it might not be. It might be something else. And he's just sat on a stool, just looking really pleased with himself. But this is singularly lacking in detail. That's my problem with it. I mean, look at it. The background's the same colour as the cups. Yeah. The biggest thing that gets your attention from here is that man's hat and the curtain. And, you know, I'm a lion, I'm a Leo. Immediately I'm like, what's behind the curtain? Like, curious. He's probably hiding some pretty bad hat hair under there. But it makes me feel like this is a dream that wasn't fully realised at any point. You know, it wasn't necessarily a pipe dream, but because it's so lacking in detail, I don't think that you got near enough to it to stop putting that detail in. You know, so when you imagine something, I don't know, my visual imagination is not very good. I can't actually see things. That's not how I work. But if I try really hard, I can make basic shapes of things, and it feels to me like that is a basic shape card, if you know what I mean. There's no detail, there's no depth to the colour. It's very flat, it's very two-dimensional. So you could say that it's possible that whatever the Six of Cups represents to you, at one point it was your dream. You thought your wish had been fulfilled. You thought you'd achieved your dream. But it stayed in your imagination. I mean, look at the detail, look at the difference in shades. You know, look at the depth between those two cards. There's so much more. It's like so much more detail on the Eight of Cups, that situation that you left behind. You know, it's kind of seared in. All the detail is seared into your memory. And that's flat, two-dimensional, insubstantial, actually. Lovers in reverse. Yeah, maybe this was a relationship that went wrong. You know, it comes out in reverse because what you were expecting and what you got were two very different things. You never got close enough to your internal dream of what it was, what your Nine of Cups looked like, that you could put the detail on the scene. You know, and even now when you recall it, it's flat, it's two-dimensional. You know. It looks very staged, that. And then we have the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is about options, primarily. It can be about illusions as well. You know, there's this man, and the fact that he's in the dark always strikes me as a thing. Like he's silhouetted, you know, but he is literally in the dark. He's depicted in the dark. And there's all these beautiful cups up here, and they contain all sorts of fabulous things. There's a laurel wreath, you know, for victory and stuff. But there's this kind of weird phantasm, and then this weird kind of 70s perm wearing bob head thing. They all look rather magnificent because they're all up on a cloud. And they're all in gleaming cups, and they're all radiating with a particular shine. But, that cup there has got a skull on it. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Reflected in the metal. It's illusory and it's deceptive. I wonder if you deceived yourself about what it was that you thought you were getting into. I wonder if you saw the skull on the cup. But chose to ignore it. Got the Six of Cups again. Yeah. Look at the colours on those two cards. This hasn't been easy for you. You know, this is what's above ground. This is what everybody can see, but this is what's been going on underneath. And the colours are the same as on the Lovers. I think you did deceive yourself. And you deceived yourself, because actually whoever this Six of Cups is, whatever this Six of Cups is to you, like, there was an element of recognition in it for you. You know, you recognised something about what you were getting into of old. I've got the moon again. I mean, it's possible actually that what's going on here is that during the retrograde that this is going to resurface, and this is a thing, and you're going to be offered some flat 2D version of what it was that you initially went in to this situation over here, as it was a flat, insubstantial version of what it is that you wanted, what it was that you dreamed. You know, the difference between the tree and its roots there, you know. Get another couple of cards for that. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's Justice and the Five of Swords here, right? Justice is all about, you know, it's karma, actually. You know, it's a very karmic card. And when it's with the Six of Cups, you know, even talking about karmic contracts and whatnot, I get the impression you've fulfilled yours. But I think in November it's coming back for another go. There's some influence that it's going to try and exert, but it's going to be such a flimsy version of what you signed up for, what you walked away from, you know. And it is deceptive. There's trickery here, you know. It's designed to keep you in the dark. The moon again. Because this card, this horrible card here, this earthworm getting hacked up. So I'm kind of struck by the symmetry of it, and the symmetry of the Justice card as well. Those two together, you might appreciate that. It looks like it's going to rear its ugly head again in November for you, and it's deceptive, it's tricky, it's flat, it's got no detail, it's got no substance. It's the second time the Justice card has come out. Like, there was a lesson in here for you, and during the retrograde it looks like it's going to come back to see if you actually learned it or not. But it's not going to be very comfortable, you know. This is a 5. 5s are about uncomfortable change, and I think the uncomfortable change, because the 5 is of the swords rather than, you know, any of the other 5s, the uncomfortable change is probably a few things that you're going to have to accept in your head that you didn't really want to, I think. You know, if these swords are your thoughts. This could be a particular, you know, situation that whoever the Six of Cups is trying to bring in. It's duplicitous, it's illusory, it's all of those things. You've paid your debt. It's time to move on. You know, the scales of justice are equally balanced. They're depicted as equally balanced in both of these Justice cards. Like, you've paid your debt, move on now. Like, you've done your bit. Crikey. Right, I'm going to leave it there, Virgo. I'm sorry I didn't have something more like sunshine and rainbows for you, but you know, hold on to this during November, because this is you. And whether you liked it or not, and whether you were comfortable with it or not, you have learned a great deal. And you will be carrying that forward with you in the future. And the likelihood of you being deceived by this kind of notion is unlikely ever to happen again, I think. Oh. So if you've resonated with this reading, if you've stuck with me this long and it's resonated with you, then God, I'm sorry. That kind of sucks. But, you know, like the video, send me a message, you know, whatever, and do subscribe. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I'm going to be uploading content more often now because I have a bit more time on my hands. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified when stuff hits YouTube. Yeah, but failing that, I shall see you next time.